The storm clouds rolled across the Navy base, heavy and gray, as Admiral Richard Harlow stood beside the massive hangar that housed the Navy's newest stealth prototype, an engineering marvel that had cost billions. The air buzzed with tension, high-ranking officers moved briskly, their clipped voices echoing in the metal structure. Harlow's expression was sharp, eyes narrowed at the massive hulk of technology sitting silently on the platform. 10 years of research and this thing won't even start, he muttered. We've had every top engineer look at it, and no one's figured out the glitch. A young commander beside him straightened nervously. Sir, the power matrix keeps shorting out during the ignition phase. The software crashes every time we reach synchronization. The Admiral smirked, his voice laced with sarcasm. So, our $1 billion stealth jet is just a shiny paperweight. He barked a bitter laugh. Fix this and I'll give you $100 million. The room fell silent. The Admiral's words, though mocking, carried the frustration of a man who'd hit a wall. At the edge of the hangar, a janitor in faded overalls was mopping near the workbench. His name tag read Carter. He looked older than the rest. Early 40s, maybe. There was a quiet calm about him, the kind that made people overlook him entirely. He'd been working the night shifts for nearly 3 years now, never late, never loud. As the officers continued to argue about circuits and algorithms, Carter kept mopping, pretending not to listen. But his eyes occasionally flicked toward the massive jet, toward the digital console glowing red with error codes. When the Admiral stormed off toward the office, cursing under his breath, Carter leaned his mop against the wall. A small voice behind him said, "Dad, can I see it up close?" Carter turned. His daughter, Lily, stood there clutching a small lunch bag. She was barely 10, her hair tied in a messy ponytail, her bright green eyes filled with curiosity. "Hey, kiddo," Carter said softly, "you're not supposed to be in here. This is restricted." "I know," she said, pouting. "But I finished my homework early. Mom said you were still at work, so I brought you dinner." He smiled, taking the bag. "Thanks, sweetheart. You didn't have to." She looked past him to the jet. "That's the stealth plane everyone talks about, right? The one they say can disappear from radar." "Something like that," Carter said, glancing nervously toward the engineers. "It looks sad," she said suddenly. He chuckled. "Sad, yeah," Lily said thoughtfully, "like it wants to fly but doesn't know how." Before Carter could reply, one of the engineers noticed her and frowned. "Sir, civilians aren't allowed in here." "She's just dropping off dinner," Carter said quickly. "We'll be out of your way in a minute." The Admiral re-entered the hangar just then, his voice booming. "What's going on here?" "Apologies, sir," the engineer stammered. The janitor's daughter, Harlow's eyes snapped to Carter, and his tone dripped with disdain. "Your daughter in a secure facility." Carter nodded silently, stepping slightly in front of Lily. The Admiral sneered. "You're lucky I don't write you up for this. You think this is a playground. I'm sorry, sir, it won't happen again." Harlow's gaze shifted toward the girl, who was still staring at the control panel. "What's so fascinating, kid?" he asked mockingly. Lily pointed at the display. "It's looping the same error, but it's not the system's fault. The synchronization code's reversed." A few of the engineers laughed under their breath. "The synchronization code," the Admiral said, amused. "You mean the sequence that stumped the best defense programmers in the country?" She nodded. "Yeah, it's just backwards. You're telling the engine to stabilize before the data stream's ready. It's like trying to walk before your shoes are on." The hangar fell quiet, even the air felt still. The Admiral blinked, then laughed. "You hear that, gentlemen? The janitor's little girl just solved our $1 billion glitch." His tone was thick with sarcasm. Carter's face flushed with embarrassment. "Sir, she didn't mean..." But Lily stepped forward, frowning slightly. "You can test it," she said simply. "Just switch the order of the two commands in the power matrix code. It'll stop crashing." The Admiral smirked. "Fine, humor me. Run her code, just for fun." An engineer reluctantly adjusted the console, muttering to himself. The hangar filled with the low hum of machinery as the jet's systems reinitialized. Lights flickered. The air began to vibrate with power. Then, silence. Every eye in the hangar watched the screen as the red error message disappeared. The console glowed green. System synchronized. A robotic voice announced. The engineers froze. One of them whispered, "That's..." Impossible. The Admiral's smirk faded. He stared at the jet as the engines powered up smoothly, the once dead machine coming alive with a perfect hum. Run the diagnostics, he ordered. The engineer's fingers flew across the keyboard. All systems nominal, sir. No errors detected. For the first time in days, the Admiral was speechless. Lily beamed. See, it just needed the right order. Carter gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Sweetheart, maybe we should go now. But the Admiral's voice stopped them. Wait. He turned toward Carter, his earlier arrogance replaced by disbelief. How did she even know that? Carter hesitated. She likes puzzles. Always has. I used to bring home old radios and computers for her to take apart. The Admiral stared between father and daughter, his mind trying to catch up. You mean to tell me at 10, your old girl just fixed what my entire engineering team couldn't? Carter smiled faintly. Guess she's got a knack for things that don't work right. The Admiral slowly exhaled, rubbing his forehead. You realize what she just did, right? She saved us months of testing, and probably billions in potential failure. Lily tilted her head. So, does that mean I get the $100 million? The entire hangar burst into laughter, the tension breaking like glass. Even the Admiral laughed. Deep, genuine laughter this time. You know what, kid? You just might deserve it. He turned to Carter. You ever thought of working in engineering? Carter shrugged. I used to, before. Life got complicated. Uncomplicate it. The Admiral said firmly. Bring her in tomorrow. I want my team to test her theory on the full prototype series. If she's right, she just changed naval aviation forever. The following morning, the hangar buzzed with energy. Engineers surrounded Lily as she explained in simple terms how she saw the code patterns as shapes and rhythms instead of numbers. Her logic was unorthodox, but it worked. The stealth system ran perfectly across all prototypes. Later, the Admiral called them into his office. Carter, he said, sliding a folder across the desk, this is a consulting contract. It's for you and your daughter. Carter blinked. Sir, that's not charity. Harlow interrupted. That's gratitude. You too earned it. The Navy needs minds like hers, and yours for raising her right. Lily's eyes went wide. Does this mean I can work here? Harlow chuckled. You can visit for now. Let's wait until you finish middle school before we put you in charge. As they left the office, Carter looked down at his daughter, pride softening his voice. You did good, kiddo. She grinned. I just wanted to help. Outside, the morning sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light over the hangar. The once broken machine now gleamed under it, alive and ready. From a distance, Admiral Harlow watched them go, shaking his head with a smile. Fix this, and I'll give you $100 million, he muttered to himself, still half in disbelief. Guess I owe that little genius a lot more than money. And somewhere deep inside the base, the engines of progress began to hum again, not powered by machines or money, but by the brilliance of a little girl who saw order in chaos and believed nothing was too broken to fix.